conducting studies to better understand the aspects of Omicron. They said that this may be due to increasing overall numbers of people becoming infected. That is in relation to the number of the data suggesting that there are many people being hospitalized in South Africa, and they said that it is rather not because of specific infection with Omicron. So they are urging nations not to close their borders and take precaution as much as possible. We have a story of FKF Mwendwa, who is still in police custody for another night. The beleaguered FKF President Nick Mwendwa will Monday spend another night, that was yesterday, spent another night police custody, in police custody following his arrest on Friday last week. A Nairobi magistrate on Monday directed that Mwendwa be held for a day pending her ruling on whether he should take plea to charges of corruption. That is as far as that is concerned. And 10 rockers clubs, eateries in Kisumu must soundproof. So visiting Kisumu, be sure to take your earplugs unless you love that ear-splitting music and don't like a good night's sleep. So most of them, according to the city manager, Abala Wanga, said that bar owners deliberated and over the notice saying that they must adhere to that rule within 6 months or else their licenses will be revoked. Okay, moving quickly on to that story of the terrorists who say that they tell how they escaped from committee. It's a full page read there, but you can take a look. But just a snippet. They said that the prison break started with a smile, a couple of jokes, and a bundle of money, the sum yet to be known. And that's how it led to their daring escape from the prison. And finally, it's hell in Saudi Arabia. Survivors tell MPs they say that their employers overwork them and sometimes with no pay, and sometimes turn them into sex slaves. So they were responding to the National Assembly Labour Committee there. And another sad story again, a veteran journalist was killed using laptop cable. An autopsy conducted on the body of veteran journalist Gatonye Gathura shows that he died from trauma from the back of the head and strangulation. The journalist, whose body was found dumped along the Naivasha-Maimahiu road last month, died of lack of air to his brain, which was caused by strangulation using a laptop wire. That's according to government pathologist Dr. Titus Ngulungu, who addressed the media in Naivasha after that autopsy. And just to tell you that later on in the next hour, we'll be having that discussion with the CS for Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, Cecily Kariuki, just telling us how her ministry has been performing to this end, having in mind that her ministry is actually in the center of all the Big Four agenda. That is coming up in the next hour. Jen.
Let me now run you through the front page of the Daily Nation. Some of those stories have also been featured here, but just to add on that particular story, which is the first one here on the header, I will escape again. Recaptured convict terror tells courts, and this is what was happening yesterday. And as per the account that has been captured on this daily, it took 18 months of careful planning with crucial help from warders to break out of the Committee Maximum Security Prison. And this is information that was disclosed yesterday by one of the three convicts during what has been termed as an explosive court session. After listening to the whole plea that this gentleman had, Miss Mochache, Diana Mochache, the chief magistrate in Kahawa, jailed them for an additional 15 months each, and on the basis that they saved the court, they have shown remorse by pleading guilty to the offenses, saving this court time and resources in the pursuit of justice, consequently sentencing them to an additional 15 months to prison instead of the 2 years for escaping lawful custody. But according to this account of this gentleman, this was the account of let me see, Ahulanga, yes, he revealed the details behind this daring escape plan. He also said that the detectives had deliberately declined to acknowledge his account of the plan, suggesting that there was a cover-up to protect some of the warders that helped them and police officers that helped them escape and how involved they were. He lamented that most of the prison warders who had aided their escape had not even been arrested after giving their names to the police. He went on to say that his life is in danger because he has vital information that could lead to the prosecution of other people in government who also participated in the mission. The magistrate instructed him to write down the names of all the warders who helped break them out of jail, and went on to order that the prosecution to summon the guards and everyone who has been whose name was on that list for interrogation. One of the reasons as to why he said that they escaped was because they knew that once their time was up in prison, they would be executed by the anti-terrorism police upon release. So they planned to escape and cross over the border to Ethiopia to secure their freedom. That story has been captured in great detail there on page 3. You can go ahead and have a read. But coming back to the front page, economy, top of the agenda as President Uhuru Kenyatta addresses the nation later on today. Of course, this is something that a great number of people are waiting to hear from the president. Coming to the main read, the race for Raila's running mate, Odinga is set to announce his presidential bid at the Azimio la Umoja convention, which will be happening on the 10th of December. And as per the strategist of the ODM and Jubilee parties, they are saying that scouting for a deputy for the ODM leader in the race to State House has been narrowed down to 3 potential candidates. That is Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanjui, NARC Kenya Chief, that is Martha Karua, and former presidential candidate Peter Kenneth. And the seat for governor for Nairobi County has been preserved for one of the One Kenya Alliance principles. I'll be giving you details of that in a bit.
Just a ploy. You know, we all know the game. The name of the game. In politics, we usually say it's like going to war. You don't tell your opponent your next move.
Confuse and scatter the enemy.
Exactly. You just ambush. So having the 3, it's just to dangle the carrot, but one day. Yeah.
But now the interesting bit is that saying that the seat for governor for Nairobi County has been reserved for one of the One Kenya Alliance principles.
Cool.
So whoever will decide to cross over atapewa kiti ya governor for Nairobi County. Anyway, I'll be giving you details of that story in a bit. Then there's the concern about the new COVID-19 strain from South Africa, Omicron, as ministry seems to have dropped its guard at the airport. Investigations by this particular daily established that passengers traveling from South Africa to Kenya on 6 flights that landed on Monday, including 1 cargo plane, were not tested, and for this new variant of COVID-19, the Omicron variant, which was discovered in South Africa on the 24th of November. And we also saw activist Boniface Mwangi, who was one of the guys that landed from South Africa, saying that whatever the PS for Health was saying in regards to the government stepping up security at the airport to just make sure that we do not get this new variant in the country was a lie, in his own words. And finally, Kinoti loses bid to avoid prison after High Court Judge Anthony Mrima dismissed Mr. Kinoti's application to review or set aside the ruling. Details coming up in a bit. Doreen.
Right, let's just begin from that particular note in regards to that new variant, that is the Omicron variant, whereby Kenyans now seek assurance over that particular COVID variant. And remember that even as of yesterday, we already established that with this particular one, the symptoms that you would have otherwise expect, such as coughing, fever, they do not manifest in this particular COVID variant. And this is perhaps why Kenyans are now seeking assurance over this COVID variant. And also, even as you expect the State of the Nation address by the President this afternoon, this is some of the things that Kenyans are expecting the president to address. Still on that note, concerning matters of health, China is set to give Africa 1 billion doses of jab, that is of the COVID-19 jab, and this also comes at a time where there were talks in regards to that, as well as also just emphasizing on matters trade and security, amongst other issues, whereby China will be coming into play to see how they can assist and help African nations. So a bit of some politics now, moments of truth as OCA principal call crisis meeting. Remember that for a while now we've tried to just understand who will carry the flag for One Kenya Alliance, and now as it emerges, it looks that amongst the four principles, somehow one or two of them is in talks with either the deputy president or the ODM leader Raila Odinga, and this is why this morning they'll be holding a crisis meeting to try and establish how they will move or forge forward. That in regards to matters One Kenya Alliance, and still some bit of politics. This comes after that meeting that the DP had with Wamama na Hustler, and at this point he just shunned tribal parties and he urges Kenyans to shun those tribal parties. Still on matters drought, and this is in regards to the 2 billion Kenya shillings mitigation funds to curb drought, whereby now MP Adan Duale is trying to say, where did all this money go? Remember that this was the money that was put or set forth to at least help those counties that were heavily affected by drought. And again, even speaking of this issue, like health, like economy, still drought features greatly into what Kenyans are expecting the president to address. And again, this is perhaps why the MP there is trying to question where this money went, given the fact that in his own words he says that those counties that are supposed to be helped by this particular fund, they haven't gotten that help yet. And even as we set to celebrate World AIDS Day tomorrow, and yes, we obviously know that the strides have been made in terms of stopping the spread of HIV, but even at that, there's still some more things we need to do, and especially as a country, and this is perhaps also why the Ministry of Health is in a bit to try and ensure how best they can produce local ARVs by local farms. And this also comes at a time that since 2014, remember, there's been a bit of tussle in regards to how donors are bringing forth this money that is supposed to help Kenyans affected or infected with HIV. So this is again why they're really in a bit to try and see how best they can produce local ARVs. And again, also this comes at a time where NAC, that is the National AIDS Control Council, is now calling for an end to discrimination against people living with HIV, even as we prepare towards marking or celebrating that World HIV Day tomorrow. And of course, I mean, I've already mentioned enough of what Kenyans are really expecting the president to address. That is on the State of the Nation address, and also on this particular article just highlighted on the front page of the PD, which captures page 14 through 16 of the same paper, really highlights and talks more about what Kenyans are really expecting the president to address on this year's State of the Nation address. Regina.
Now, in a nutshell, a majority of what my colleagues have mentioned is what has captured and described in this particular paper, being the Standard, that also has a special report, and it is titled "A Kidnapper's Paradise." The law of the jungle reigns, and despite being an expansive Bill of Rights, boasting an expansive Bill of Rights, an enlightened population, responsive duty bearers, credible institutions of criminal justice, and hawk-eyed media, Kenya is slowly degenerating into an abductor's paradise. People are pulled off the streets in broad daylight, some never to be seen again. Who is involved? What will it take to end this new boring trend? That's a story that has been given prominence on this particular daily this morning, just highlighting the fate of some of the people who've gone missing. There's a whole pullout, actually 2 pages of it. The recent one being an Ethiopian businessman who was allegedly pulled out of a vehicle amid in traffic and bundled into a waiting Subaru, and human rights defenders and journalists as well as activists are questioning the role of the police. Now, according to the family, Saladin was on his way to the DCI headquarters along Kiambu Road, where the Nairobi Interpol office is located when his car was blocked, and unidentified men ordered him into another car and drove off. Now, Mr. Salahaddin had been battling plans to extradite him to Turkey on allegations that he was wanted for child molestation. However, his family maintains that he's being targeted due to his ties to an influential business billionaire cleric uncle, that is Fethullah Gulen, a former ally of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who fled the United States after being accused of leading at the 2016 coup in his home country in Ethiopia. According to a report that has brought forth this particular report by Haki Africa indicates that in the year, now as today is the last year of November 2021, in the year, they have documented over 43 cases of extrajudicial killings and disappearances in 2021 alone. So according to the report, 29 such cases were reported in the coast. Mombasa County had 17, Kwale 9, Nairobi 7, Kajiado 4, Lamu 3, while Wajir, Nyeri and Kiamu had a case each. Further details, you can get a copy of this newspaper this morning. So in a nutshell, that's what we have on the front page of the Standard this morning. And just to remind you that we are going to be televising the State of the Nation address as President Uhuru Kenyatta is going to be addressing the bicameral parliament today. And this is going to be his 8th during his tenure, probably the last as President Uhuru Kenyatta, given that we're set for the general elections come August 9th, 2022. So KBC Channel 1 is the place to be. Before we call it quits, we'll take a quick breather, but when we return, we're going to be having a candid conversation where Victor is going to be engaging one of our guests this morning. I think I need to hand it over to Victor so that he can share some insights into that particular interview. Victor.
Yeah, you're still following with it. Yeah, no problem. Yes, that discussion is about the Big Four agenda, the process that she's taken. Of course, she's been rising through the ranks from classroom, being a lecturer, to the position she is right now. And we just had that discussion yesterday. And what is her program, what is the project, and look ahead even as we head to the end of this particular tenure in office. And that is Cecily Kariuki, the CS for sanitation, water, sanitation and irrigation, which was done yesterday at Maji House. So do we take that, Director?